Straight up. 30 yards straight up. Thirty yards straight up.
Think you know Big Lots? Think again. The better than ever Big Lots is for those who love to see.
Alright, so peace. Greetings, y'all. This is Empress Rena Nicole of RenaNicole.com, Divine Intervention Show and Podcast, The Love Experiences, The Curve.net, Sankofa's Naturals. And this is our AM show to wake that ass up. This is Monday, September 26, 2022. Just off the cusp of the fall equinox, and we're still going through Mercury retrograde. Let's get it. Today, the topic is how to identify and stick to your non-negotiables. With that being said, I'm going to let it drop for another 35 seconds, and then we're going to get right into the topic. Peace, y'all. right, so peace, y'all. Welcome to the AM Inspiration Show to wake that ass up. We are streaming live from YouTube, Clubhouse. That club on Clubhouse is called Sustainable Relationships. So if you're in the Clubhouse streets and you want to chime in, hit that greenhouse at the top and follow the club and come on into the room and raise your hand. With that being said, we're also streaming live from Facebook, Twitter, Spooncasting, Spotify, and Anchor. Now, to locate our podcast, you can just follow the links that are placed amongst the podcast. So let's get right into this topic and let's talk about these non-negotiables, okay? So when you think of non-negotiables, you think like, these are the things that I will not negotiate on. It's really that simple. And unfortunately, a lot of people have non-negotiables that they don't stick to, and they wonder why they don't get the respect that they desire in relationships, or get the respect that they desire in business, or relationships as well. So non-negotiables are the things that you will not negotiate on. They are defined by your values and principles, okay? They are defined by your values and your principles. Okay, they govern what you will and will not accept from other people, but most importantly, yourself, okay? So when determined, defined, and set in place and protected, they will and can guide you towards your highest well-being and not feeling completely and totally overwhelmed and stressed out by others people's bullshit. Point blank, period. That's just what it is, okay? So when you're thinking about non-negotiables, okay, you start to think like to yourself like, okay, what can I do to set non-negotiables? How can I stick to them? Because a lot of people don't have the tools necessary to, be that truthful to themselves or be that honest with themselves. So let's go down some things that can be an example of non-negotiables first, and then we can go on defining it. So an example of a non-negotiable is having no one call you after like a certain time of night. That's non-negotiable for me. Not dealing with people who are not clean, not dealing with people who are not wholesome, not dealing with people who are not ambitious, not doing like me. I'm a raw vegan. I don't want to deal with anyone who doesn't eat healthy. That's just a non-negotiable for me. We can be friends and everything like that, but me, planning a future with someone who isn't eating healthy, I don't feel like it's my responsibility to make anyone eat healthy. That's where the disconnect is. A lot of the time people feel like, oh, it's my responsibility when I get in a relationship to be a mother or to mother people or to force people to change. And I feel like that's a non-negotiable for me. I'm not going to force anyone to level up. I'm not going to force anyone to change. I'm not going to force anyone to do better for themselves. I feel like that whatever I add to the relationship to help make it secure should inspire that person to do better. Just like whatever they add to the relationship to make me secure in the relationship should inspire me to, do more better. It's not my responsibility or theirs to make me secure in myself, just like it's not my responsibility to make them secure in themselves. And when you get to non-negotiable with things like, I'm not going to work on weekends, I don't, no drinking and no driving, scheduling exercise every day, drinking tea every day, you know, um, just things of that nature, because the list can go on and on, you know, um, but having things like I'm not going to overspend, I don't overshop, I don't want to deal with someone that's financially irresponsible is a non-negotiable as well, because a non-negotiable can be so small, but it also can be so big that it's just an automatic hell no. You know what I'm saying? So let's go over these steps on how to get you going with your non-negotiables. Okay. So being clear on exactly what they are can help you to identify your non-negotiables by writing them down and allowing yourself to recognize what you do, what you're willing to I don't like to use words like compromise, but what you're willing to be flexible with in your existence. So brainstorming on what matters to you the most will definitely help you identify what values and principles guide you. Okay. And what things you refuse to budge on. Like someone with a criminal record is a non-negotiable. It's just a non-negotiable. And it's not a non-negotiable for everyone. Some people don't care. Some people are they have their reasons where that doesn't matter to them. But for other people, like I'm giving you examples of non-negotiable. For me, that's a non-negotiable. I don't feel like I have to deal with someone who has a criminal record. That's not something I have to do. That's not something I desire to do. That's not something I want to do. That's not something I'm planning on ever going to do. So I'm very clear on that. That's something I sat down with myself when I was a child, and I just it was drilled in my head that wasn't cute. That wasn't cute. That wasn't something that was allowed. That wasn't something that was going to be frowned upon, and my family was going to look at me sideways if I did that. So it just was never a thing for me, because that was it was instilled into my personal values. So remember this: that your non-negotiables is not going to be the same as someone else's. So, and this is why it's very interesting. Like when you are online and you're talking to people, especially now that dropping audio is like a big thing, when you're talking to people and they're saying things like how relationships should be, how you should operate in relationships and stuff like that. And when you disagree, people get angry, they get an attitude, they get upset because they don't realize that their non-negotiables belong solely to them and they don't belong to anyone else. You know what I'm saying? It's that level of emotional intelligence that don't exist on people, where they feel like, my way is the way that everybody should live, and there's a disconnect with them and their inner selves in the world. So I just wanted to make that clear, that being clear on your standards and your morals and your personal values will help you create a list of non-negotiables that you will not budge on. It's not something you're like, you know what, I might can budge on that. That's not a non-negotiable. It's just not. So don't put it on the list. You feel like, oh, I can budge on that, don't put it on the list. If you feel like I might be able to justify that, or I possibly will deflect on that and be okay with it, don't put it on the list, because it's going to do you a disservice. Okay. So the more that we grow, the more that we age, the more that our life expands, so does the things that are important to us. So reviewing your list a few times a year. I like to review my non-negotiables 4 times a year, with the season changes. We just had a fall equinox. I just reviewed some non-negotiables and I just upgraded them, because a lot of stuff I'm like, you know what, I took this stuff for a long time, and now it's just a complete non-negotiable. I some things that I justified before and I was able to make an excuse for, I'm not able to do that anymore. Like a part of my brain and my spirit, it's just like, no, that's disgusting. Why would you ever settle for that? Why would you ever allow that? Because you're not benefiting in any way. So it's just a hard no. And it may come off as being cold-hearted or someone who doesn't care anymore, but that non-negotiable is keeping me at my peace. You know what I'm saying? It's allowing me to have more possibilities and doors open up for me, because I am not remaining stagnant in a justification or a deflection that doesn't serve my life. You get what I'm saying? So being current with your non-negotiables is extremely important, because a non-negotiable from 5 years ago may not be a non-negotiable now. You may have matured, you may have better understanding, you may be more flexible with something because of your life experiences. Okay. So keep that in mind, that being current with non-negotiables does matter, and it's extremely, extremely important. Dun, dun, dun. Now, the third one, of course, is being aligned with your non-negotiables, because I'm gonna give you an example. Is the whole standard conversation. I think I'm going to throw a room on Clubhouse, and I'm going to throw it on a live to my Facebook page, possibly, on standards and boundaries. Again, that's one of my favorite rooms to have, is on standards and boundaries, because if you don't respect your personal standards and boundaries, because that's what a non-negotiable is a boundary, okay, and a standard, it falls under that category. You don't respect it, other people won't. So when you are aligning with your values and your goals, you have to make sure that your actions are aligning with it, because you can say whatever you want to say. Like I said before, I remember having that rule, and I still have it, that I don't allow, people to call my phone after 9 p.m., especially men. And when a man calls me after 9 o'clock, I'm like, ew, like, what do you want? We're not married, we're not together. Why are you calling my phone? What could you possibly want from me after 9 o'clock at night? You know? So I remember answering my phone for a friend that was a guy. It was like it was nothing like that. I just answered the phone. And I'm like, I have the rule of 9 o'clock. It says, so why you answer? I'm like, because it was you, and I didn't think of it. It says, oh, so you expect me now to never call you at 9 o'clock again, but you just answer after 9 o'clock. Even though it was just like a spitted, like, a response answer. It wasn't like, oh snap, it's 9 o'clock. It was a response answer. He said that if you don't respect yourself, how do you expect me to respect you? My own friend, my regular friend said that to me. And I'm like, you know what? You made a point. And I never shifted from that point. And I always made it a notion that, if you're going to call me and I'm aware it is after 9 o'clock, and if it's something important, I'll answer. But if not, I'm just not going to answer my phone. Okay. So that really opened my eyes to, if I'm not respecting my standards, how can I possibly walk around in this world and expect other people to align with them if my actions are not aligning with it? Okay. So that just jumps right into the bucket of number 4, which is communication. Because if you're not communicating your non-negotiables and you're just expecting people to live up to that shit, it's completely asinine. It's completely asinine. It's immature. It's a lack of effective communication. It's a lack of emotional intelligence. And most people don't tell you they're non-negotiables until you do something that crossed the line. And then they get an attitude, and then they're acting out, and then they're lashing out, and it's just a complete mess. And it's like, you know what? Keep your non-negotiable, keep yourself, stay away from me, because you could have just let me know. You could have just said it. You could have just communicated it. But for some reason, it's so hard for some adults to actually communicate, hey, I'm not messing with that. I don't rock with that type of energy. That's something that I'm not aligning myself with, Instead of just being honest and open and upfront, people wait until someone crosses the line to say something, which is completely asinine. Listen, I'm just saying, listen, it just is what it is. It's just completely asinine. You know, it's not saying that you have to live in a bubble, but it's saying this: if you are not communicating your non-negotiables, how can you expect someone to support you? How can you expect people to help you elevate, and help you to, be in that healthy space or environment? It's not going to work. You're always going to feel offended, attacked, or victimized by people when you don't speak up on your non-negotiables. Point blank, period. Listen, so let's talk about some possibilities here. I'm going to do a quick reset, and then we're going to jump right back into talking about when your non-negotiables possibly can change, okay? So this is the AM Inspiration Show to wake that ass up. It is Monday, September 26, 2022, right off the cusp of the fall equinox in floating through Mercury retrograde. Y'all okay? Send me a white flag if you need help. Now, I am your host, Empress Coach Rena Nicole of RenaNicole.com, Divine Intervention Show and Podcast, The Love Experiences, and TheCurve.net. With that being said, we are streaming live through YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Spotify, spoon casting. That's spoon, like a spoon you put in your mouth. Spoon casting. Anchor and Clubhouse app. On that Clubhouse app, make sure you hit that greenhouse. It's called Sustainable Relationship. And, come on into the room, raise your hand, and share. If you're on Facebook, if you're in Clubhouse, you see the link that says StreamYard. Hit that StreamYard link and come join us on the live. Share your experiences with non-negotiables, how you facilitated them, how you cultivated them, or how you're learning how to stand in them and your righteous truth. Now, let's get back to it. So, there are times in your existence where you'll want to revisit and review what's important. So some of these things come natural with maturity, and you start to, your thoughts start to reframe differently once you had more life experiences under your belt. Okay, so that's extremely important to recognize because some people just think, oh, I'm smart for my age, so they don't really quantify experience anymore. Like experience is not a thing to have anymore. It's just like it's just completely weird. The Google scientists and the Google philosophers and stuff like that and the Google healers. Yeah, it's just like experiences doesn't matter anymore, but experience does matter when it comes to um realigning your non-negotiables, with time and with age. Okay. So some things that can change your non-negotiable is getting married, possibly having children, grief, grief, whether it's relationships or a loss of a loved one, graduating college or school, near-death experiences, a major injury or illness, kids leaving home and retirement are some key components and why your non-negotiables may change. Okay. So it's and things like some people, even when they own a business, they're like, oh, you're acting Hollywood. No, you're just more focused on your legacy. You're just more focused on being productive and making that money. Okay. And that's completely okay. You got to stop allowing what other people think control your life. You just have to. Your non-negotiables are not up for debate. And that's something I want to talk about. It really goes back into the whole no is a complete sentence, because it is. Your non-negotiables are not up for debate for other people. It has nothing to do with other people. It's not a debate. It's not up for debate. They don't get to tell you, well, I think. Who gives a fuck? Period. Like, period. Like, who cares what you think about my non-negotiables? Because at the end of the day, when you are going to go meet your maker, honey, you are going in the casket by yourself. You're going in a cremation jar by yourself. I'm going by myself. So my non-negotiables are built on my morals, my principles, my standards of my life. Point blank, period. And this is why we say no is a complete sentence, because the moment that you answer why you're saying no, you're opening up the door for manipulation to say yes. The moment that you open up the door to discuss why your non-negotiables are the way they are, you're opening up the door to be manipulated into settling and regression on what you actually desire for yourself. And it means that you're not respecting yourself, and you're not respecting your non-negotiables. You're not respecting your boundaries. You're not respecting your standards, and nobody else will. Period. And it's that simple. It's that simple, okay? So it's extremely important. Extremely, 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 extremely important to recognize that without you, then who? Dun, dun, dun. Period. I'm trying to tell you, without you, then who? Okay. So when you are in your life, you just have to realize, these non-negotiables are going to be great for me. Like if you're like, I'm taking a vow of celibacy until I get married. So you're dating with intentions. Now you're dating with intentions, and I haven't had rooms on that in a while on Clubhouse or on YouTube. We haven't had our divine intervention vlogging podcast, our live podcast with video in a while, because I'm looking for a new host. But when that starts back up, we talk about sustainability and relationships, and we talk about dating with intentions. Now, dating with intentions is a big non-negotiable for a lot of people. Being celibate until marriage is a big non-negotiable for a lot of people, because you know what? A lot of people realize, I shared my energy and I didn't get anything back from it. I got grief. I got other people's trauma in my womb or on my, my penis. That's if you're a man. And I took on their trauma, and I didn't like how it made me feel, how it made me feel. Okay. So what I decided was to refrain from sharing my body and my personal energy like that until I'm married or engaged. And that doesn't have to be your non-negotiable. That was just a hard example of a non-negotiable that people are, people who date intentionally live by. Okay. Now, okay. Brain fart. No, I'm just kidding. So when you are when you are dealing with someone who does not respect your non-negotiables, it is up to you on how you deal with that person, that situation. And I hope that you remember to not explain your non-negotiable, because you're opening up the door to be manipulated. You're opening up the door to someone who doesn't respect you, and you deserve better. Now, with that being said, I'm going to check out Spoon and say hi to the people, the Spooncasters over there. What's up, y'all? What it do? What up, though? Hey, Spoon. Oh, hey, babes. Hey, Spoon. You know, my Spooncasters always come out. Okay. So we got some negative Nancy's over here. You know what? And it's like, if we allow those type of people to, permeate through our life, we will never do anything. So, anyway, it's okay to, what was I saying? I forgot. I got a train of thought lost. Okay, no, I was checking to see if anyone wants to share anything. Okay. No. So with that being said, I'm going to wrap it up, because I feel like that the non-negotiable was easy. It was swift. It's easy to follow. And I'm just so appreciative for you checking in, listening to the podcast today. Don't forget to share wherever you see us. This is Empress Coach Rena Nicole of RenaNicole.com. And thank you for coming out. This was our AM inspiration show to wake that ass up. I will see you tomorrow morning with another fire topic to help you be inspired and hope you wake up consciously, spiritually, emotionally, and mentally, physically, and financially. Peace, y'all.